We're rolling. I am what I am. You are what you are. What's up, guys? We're here in Osaka, Japan, and I'm conducting my first interview. So again, on the YouTube channel, something a little bit different. And we are here with Fredrik Spåre, but I think it's pronounced Spåre. So maybe my first question for him is, how do you pronounce your name?
Fredrik Spåre.
There you go. That's how a Swede would do it, and that's how someone who's not Sweden should try. So I'm gonna give it my best attempt.
Yeah.
Fredrik Spåre.
Yeah, it's actually quite good.
Thank you very much. So of course, I'm not going to be winging this. I do have this little book. To be quite frank, we were supposed to do this interview 2 days ago on a 17-hour ferry ride on our way to Kochi, which is on Shikoku Island, to meet Myojin-san. But this boy over here doesn't like water. I guess we can say that travel is a little bit turbulent, would you say yourself? I was up as of 2:30. There was no way I was conducting an interview in our room, and risking puking would have been funny. But I think I actually got too close to that point for it to be funny. It was no longer funny. That being said, I did take the time to write a few questions, so I'm just gonna ask you some questions.
Yeah.
I want you to answer authentically. And there is no wrong answer. This is just so people can find out about you. If they know about you, they're gonna be pumped.
Yep.
If they don't know about you, they will be pumped. Because I've been hanging out with this guy for a few days. I never know if he's mad at me. He's got dry humor, which I fucking love. Beeping love. But either way, you're cool, and so that's why we're taking the time together, enjoying black coffee with no sugar.
Yeah.
And the nectar drink of the gods.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for taking the time. Oh, Martin Huber, this is a Red Bull. Love you, Martin. All right, so my first question is probably the most difficult question. You ready? Describe yourself. It's like an existential question. Like if this was an elevator pitch, if we're in an elevator.
Okay.
Oh, you have nice hair. Are you from Sweden? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Sweden. Okay, so I describe myself as a knife maker, or? Okay.
Probably though. Yeah. I'll guide you a little bit.
Okay. So I'm a full-time knife maker. I've been doing it for full-time for 3.5 years, I think. Years. I focus mainly on monoblades. But I also do some laminates and quite a lot of damascus, like as people call them, coreless damascus. And yeah, that's probably it.
Maybe I have a follow-up question, because I had no idea what you would answer. I've always wondered about coreless damascus.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people actually wonder about coreless damascus. So to the camera, in 30 seconds, what is coreless damascus? I've read so much about it on the forums, and people keep saying, no, that's wrong. This is what coreless damascus is. What's coreless damascus from the mouth of a knifesmith?
I mean, there's only one answer to that. It's the whole blade is made of damascus. So typically here in Japan, for instance, you use damascus as cladding. So you have a hardened core steel, and then you usually have soft cladding made of damascus for looks, aesthetic purposes. But when I do it, I take a chunk of damascus. So the whole piece is damascus, hardenable damascus. So both steels that damascus is made out of are hardenable carbon steels.
Okay.
So, and I just forge a blade out of that. So there's like no core, no cladding, no nothing. The whole blade is the same material through and through, and that is two versions of carbon steel.
Now, where layers of damascus have to be typically alternated so that once you etch, you have contrast, correct?
Yeah.
Can you determine what becomes your core steel? Because there'd be at least 2 steels.
I mean, you'll have yeah.
Good question, right?
No.
No?
I mean, you'll have you won't have one of them as core steel.
Okay.
They'll get like intertwined.
Okay, so
if you use a rolling mill to make the damascus, for instance, the layers are gonna be super flat. So then if you make a blade out of that and don't forge them too aggressively, you'll have maybe one of the steels going along the edge. Otherwise, it's gonna be like mix and match. Just to go to my Instagram and see where I zoom in, you'll have like both of the steels are everywhere.
Sorry, did you say go to your Instagram? This is a commercial break. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Fredrik Spåre.
Is there a dot in between, or is it?
Fredrik Spåre.
And how about the accent? I know there's an accent on your family name.
Fredrik Spåre.
There's no accent, right?
It's not an accent. It's an å. The a in the Spåre, in Spåre. Fredrik Spåre. It's not an A, it's an O. So it's an A with a dot on it.
Yeah.
That's instead of an A, it's a O. Whatever.
I feel like they should have grabbed the O, made it bigger, big enough to just go over the A so that people could just say Spåre. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
It's almost like the sound is the accent, but there's still an A. It's like if you put the O over a Z, but you're like, oh. You're like, well, then get rid of the Z, just put the O.
I mean, I prefer it to be an O.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for that. See, one question, that was a great follow-up.
Yeah.
Because I myself have wondered about coreless damascus, don't own any, but again, I've read different things on the forum. I'm going to.
I mean, for me, the first time I read someone call it coreless damascus, I'm like, of course it's coreless because I'm not doing a laminate.
Yep.
And the only time you have a core steel is when you have a laminate.
Yep.
And then you could argue that, yeah, but damascus is a lot of laminates. It's like 100 layers of lamination.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about this, like, this is one chunk of steel.
Got you. All right, second question. This one's not original, but people like to know why knife making. But you did answer how long have you been in the game, which, because I believe I've retained that answer, it was 3.5 years. But why knife making?
I think it's 3.5 years, like full time or as a profession.
Yeah.
And then I did it as a hobby a while back before that. But I actually started making knives because I was hunting. And then I wanted to get a hunting knife.
Yep.
So I browsed the online shops and custom knife makers and stuff. But I couldn't really find one that I really liked. Like some of
really
them,
like.
yeah, some of them had like some properties I liked.
Yeah.
Some other had another property that I liked. So I was like, I want to combine those two. So as a typical guy, I'm like, I'll just make my own.
I just smashed them together.
I mean, how hard can it be? So I just bought some stuff and did my first knife, a hunting knife, and wasn't too happy with it. So I made another one, and then I had 20 lying in a pile. And then I realized that these are just stacking up. So instead of that, doing more hunting knives, I started doing kitchen knives because I have a history as a chef.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people that work in kitchens, so I could like get them out to those people and have them try them. And yeah, that's just how.
Did you apprentice anywhere, or were you self-taught?
As a chef, as a knife maker?
Yes.
No, I just did a lot of errors.
So like you said, you're like, how hard could it be? Hammer, steel, smash.
Yeah, I mean, at first I only did the stock removal.
Yeah.
And then I eventually I actually built my own press. It's not as advanced as it sounds.
Well, it's still impressive.
Yeah, no, it's not impressive at all. If you had seen it, you would not be impressed.
Do you have a picture you can send me? You have it?
No, I don't. No, I don't think I have. But it's like a wood log splitter.
Okay.
And that I just repurposed. And after that, I got myself my first hammer. And then I was working in a garage back then, like in a.
Like a mechanic?
No, garage. My 2-car garage.
Oh.
I worked out of my 2-car garage. So it's in a housing area with a lot of neighbors everywhere.
Excellent.
Yeah, so then it was pretty noisy.
Yeah, best resident on the block for sure.
Yeah. I mean, my neighbors were my best customers.
Oh,
yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Or they turned into my best customers.
At least they weren't the people that called the cops, right?
No.
Those were two extremes. They'll call the cops, or somehow they'll be my best customers because they're curious.
No, but I was a bit worried at times that they were gonna come in and like, dude, can you shut up? But they didn't, so that's good.
Awesome. Now, so you've been full-time for 3.5 years.
I think so, yeah.
Your work back then probably looks different than now. So my question to you is, in this current state of Fredrik Spåre knifesmithing, how would you describe your work? And then, even though I haven't known you for that long, I want to tell you how I define your work, describe your work, and we'll see if they match. Just out of curiosity, because your perception might be different than mine, right?
Yeah,
I'm a buyer, I'm a user, I'm a kitchen knife enthusiast.
I mean, I've always been drawn to the practicality of things. So, I mean, style-wise, I guess it's rustic and refined.
Yeah.
But the focus has always been like usability. And to be able to use it, you have to be able to afford it as well. So it's like, not cheap knives, but like affordable knives that are as good as they can be for that price.
For the price, that's important.
Yeah, and I'm not a strong believer in like collectibles and stuff.
Yep.
So I never do, or of course, I do one-offs every now and then, but never for the sake of like them being more valuable than other knives.
So functionality.
Functionality above all, yeah.
See, I almost feel superficial. My words to describe your work are all adjectives of your work, not I want it to be a knife that I would like to use. I mean, clearly that's how I am.
Yeah.
So as a person, my knives are functional art pieces.
Yeah.
But
Let's hear it.
my 3 words, sturdy,
Okay.
low contrast.
Yeah.
Maybe that one's a bit geeky.
No, I mean, it depends.
And the last one's the best one, breadsword.
Yeah.
How would you describe your work? Like if you were to die tomorrow morning, because there's many vehicles here that don't care 2 shits about us in Japan,
Indeed.
and you got hit, everyone would be really sad about the first 2 words, but also they're like, man, his breadsword.
Yeah, but I think all those 3 words quite accurately describe the breadswords as well. Because
Fair
the
point.
breadswords are absolutely robust.
Yep.
And they are low contrast because all my Damascus, or not all, but almost all of my Damascus, I do the polish finish on. So I don't use that much contrast. And when I use a contrast, I think mainly of the blades. Yeah, of course, the last word, breadswords. Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the work, there's many processes. As someone, you didn't describe this, but the reason this guy's also cool is he does everything from A to Z, right? Now, is there a process that's your favorite out of that? Especially because you do it all. When you get to a certain process, you're like, hell yeah, today's handles, or it's polishing today.
During the winter, I prefer forging, and during the summer, I prefer grinding.
Okay, seasonality affects your answer. I like that.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
I mean, it's pretty cold in my workshop during the winter, so standing in the grinding room with mist cooler and during wet conditions, it's not that fun when it's like 10 degrees in the workshop.
I would very much imagine that working the forging.
Yeah, you're standing still. So yeah, it sucks. But forging is quite good.
Yeah.
Because then it's hot. You can always stand in there, heat up yourself. And during the summer, forging on the opposite is, or on the contrary, is a little bit too hot.
Yeah.
You're
a little bit brutal.
I mean, it turns into like 40, 45 degrees some days, and it's very sweaty. But grinding is nice. You get the mist cooling you down and everything. So yeah.
This question isn't here, but again, based on your answers, I have a new question, which is, do you have a shop getup? You know, some people kind of like your day to day. You wear whatever you want today, but when you work in the shop, do you have like a shop outfit?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, my work clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a pair of trousers that are flame resistant and kind of burn resistant.
Smart man.
Yeah. My work T-shirt, of course, and
always the same, or you just alternate the work T-shirt?
I mean, I have different colors of them, but it's like my brand on them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's a good selling point. You sell the T-shirts that you've been wearing. Of course, it'd be only one size with a few holes in them.
Yeah, those are
like the undies in Japan.
Yeah, sure, that's true. Yeah, if you find the clients, I will supply the goods.
You heard that? Send them a message.
No, but and of course my PP.
Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing ever. I mean the here what is it called?
Hearing protection.
Yeah, hearing protection. Yep. I use that like from the second I walk into the workshop.
So safety glasses as well then.
I use the normal glasses actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
But hearing protection and glasses and my breathing apparatus thingy, and also of course gloves. I use gloves. Not everyone uses gloves, but I use gloves.
Well, now we're going to move away from the knife smithing portion a bit, because people these days, they just want to connect like we're doing, right? But they're connecting through that, which is okay. This is still a way to connect.
Sure.
So my next question to you is, as a knife smith, I'd like to think you have at least one handmade kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Currently, because everything is a matter of time and perspective, do you have a current favorite knife in your personal collection?
Yeah.
And it could be your own. No shade.
No, I only have one on my own.
You only have one of yours?
Yeah.
And
one on my own.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what's your favorite?
My favorite is from a guy called Christian. He lives pretty close to me. He's also, I think he's a full-time maker, or at least that's what he...
That's what he claims?
No, but he does a lot of other things, like plays a lot of music and records a lot of stuff for Instagram, where he's like playing with his bird and stuff. Shout out to Christian.
What's his family name?
Dam. So Christian Dam.
That's awesome.
He's an awesome guy, and he has made me a 18 centimeter Gyodo.
Yep.
So
That's a good size.
not a weird shape, but it's like a very high blade.
Yep.
A pretty blunt tip, but it's super thin. It cuts like crazy. Beautiful lamination. Awesome handle made out of carved wood with some stain on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my favorite one.
What steel is it? And then because now...
I mean, it's a laminate. I think it's 26C3 and probably some wrought iron. That's what it usually works with.
And your favorite steel to work with? Again, just kind of working off the cuff.
I want to be Swedish and say 2092, but
no.
No, I'm probably gonna say 124.19. And Apex is awesome if the customer is willing to pay for it.
Yep.
But if the customer wants like the most affordable knife, it's 124.19.
Otherwise, Apex Ultra.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's
because
see.
it requires more grinding,
Yep.
more time. It's more time consuming, so it costs more.
Yeah, you got to bring the price up. I mean, you got to feed your family, right?
Sure.
You got to make sure your T-shirts don't all have holes in them.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yep.
This one's a bit of a weird question. In fact, I don't want to cross it off right now. But you were formerly a chef.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question to you is, favorite dish?
Oh, putting me on the spot. I mean, to make or eat.
Oh, how about both? Why do we have to choose? There will be different answers.
So to make is probably risotto.
Dude, Italian.
Yeah, you know.
Risotto.
I mean, I love it because it's so you can vary it so much.
Yeah.
But to eat,
I know.
lasagna is pretty fucking awesome.
Me, this guy, we're brothers. I like to cook Italian, and you would eat a lasagna.
Yeah. But there's also a Swedish dish called raggmunk med fläsk.
Which is like a lasagna?
I mean, it's no.
I'm sorry.
This is like
Pardon my ignorance.
Imagine shaved potatoes.
Yeah.
Or shredded potatoes. Like potato pancakes. Let's call it
like
potato pancakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. With fried pork.
Sounds yummy.
I mean, it's fucking delicious.
Yeah. Especially after probably drinking all night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And yeah, those are great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
and also Hawaii, of course. Hawaii pizza.
Oh, like, what about Hawaii?
I mean, it's my favorite.
Pizza.
If I could,
Yeah.
I would probably eat that every day. But it's not that good for you. In
But it's
contrast to
delicious.
lasagna and raggmunk.
Yeah, which clearly is fantastic for you in copious amounts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have no other questions, but is there anything you kind of want to say about yourself? Yeah, this is your time. If not, I have a nice little bonus, so stick around.
I mean, no. The only thing that I want to say is that when customers talk to knife makers, I think they should be quite understanding that they are very pressured for time most of the time.
Yep.
Because they are doing the knife making, they're doing the marketing, they're doing the shipping, they're doing the invoicing, they're doing everything.
Yep.
So everything takes a lot of time. That's one thing I would wish.
Encourage a little bit of patience.
I would
amongst-
encourage it. And I know a lot of people show way above what's necessary in amount of patience, but you can always show more.
Absolutely. And those are some pretty nice words of wisdom.
Yeah.
I wrote them myself, which I didn't.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're on a Japanese kitchen knife tour, so the bonus for those of you who have stuck around this long for the first interview is this man got to use spring hammers in a few shops, but one of the ones where I got a lot of footage for, which is why it will be the bonus footage, was at Isamitsu in Ibaraki Prefecture. So we're going to end the video, if that's okay with you. Is
Sure.
it?
Which one was that?
That was the first place.
Okay, yeah.
Where you basically made a knife,
Okay,
right?
yeah. I'd rather you show the one from yesterday with a good clutch.
I also have that footage.
Okay.
Who knows? This is going to be surprising in
so
video editing.
the first hammers, they had really not bad clutches, but very...
Difficult to control is how I would word it. You're welcome.
Yep.
And we can release that footage. It's just difficult to control. So,
Sure.
you know, it's his first time trying, in fact, the spring hammer outside of Europe?
Yeah, and first time trying that variation of a spring hammer as well.
And what we've recognized, and I'm not a smith, but I'm recognizing now because of the great presence of Fredrik Spåre, is I almost have to like say that quietly so I can say it right.
Spåre. Mumble it.
Yeah.
But you know, Björn Birgersson,
Yep.
Swedish knife maker, he has built his own variation of those hammers that we see here in Japan, and that's just to build one is quite amazing.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it runs just as good as the one we saw yesterday.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna end the video then with Fredrik Spåre smithing away in Japan. Thanks for your time. I hope you at least had a good time. That's all I care about, man.
Yeah.
I want this to be educative, but also entertaining. A bit strange for me to be holding a book, asking someone questions. Typically, I end the video like this. So, in the spirit of throwing my fist at the camera, why don't you grab your can? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Good times. Coreless Damascus.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to be like.
The most difficult point
And then, yeah, more Okay.
Hard stuff.
Yeah, so this is gonna be the new pattern that we call the berry pattern. Not gonna do it. Eventually.
Yeah.
It's getting
I
there.
mean, it's a very short Jota. Depending on how thin you want it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, like this? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Fredrik taking Japan by storm.
Very nice.
I like.
Go another.